I live in Amsterdam. My co-founders live in Sweden and Montreal. Our team is spread across Europe, Canada, and South Africa, and we're headquartered in the Netherlands. This is where we live, this is where we work, and this is where we're building from. Europe has a rich history of media and media innovation, but somehow we became passengers in the era of social media platforms. We embraced American and Chinese platforms, and then we stopped building our own. Spotify, SoundCloud, and Zenly were amazing examples of companies that innovated on consumer product, but they all started more than a decade ago. While we rushed to invest our time and money in generations of SaaS, fintech, crypto, and AI, we almost forgot about the amazing consumer talent in Europe, and we gave away our media. Inspiring companies like Supercell, BeReal, and Ammo show it's still there, but there are also exceptions. We gave up on consumer social and media. There is no European YouTube, no European Substack, and no European Spotify for video. That's not because Europe lacks talent, it's because no one has tried with the right product at the right moment. But that moment is now. The geopolitical landscape shifted fast. In December 2025, the Trump administration banned former European Union Commissioner Thierry Breton from entering the United States. His offense? Enforcing content moderation rules under the Digital Services Act. The European Union fined X 120 million under that same act. Musk called for the abolition of the European Union, and the US State Department told its diplomats to oppose European data sovereignty laws. Meanwhile, a freedom.gov platform is being built with a VPN to help Americans bypass European regulations. I'm not editorializing here. This is the current geopolitical reality, and it erodes trust really fast. US cloud providers hold 85% of the European market, and the digital infrastructure that European citizens and their governments rely on is controlled by companies that are now under political pressure to undermine European regulation. Meanwhile, the European Union has created strong digital governance frameworks in an attempt to protect our public interest on platforms that have enormous impact on how we live. US platforms face escalating compliance costs and a political friction from Washington for complying with European law. European platforms that built natively within this framework have a structural advantage that simply didn't exist 5 years ago. And it's not just governments acting on this. Consumers, businesses, and media companies are all looking for alternatives. The discomfort is growing, and the risk of having your platform subject to the whim of a foreign government or shaped by the vision and culture of a company that doesn't share your values is no longer abstract. Denmark is piloting open source alternatives to American classroom tech. French public media is evaluating independent hosting, and European governments are actively looking for sovereign digital infrastructure. Consumers are also increasingly aware and worried. This is not a fringe conversation anymore, and the world is starting to move because it's personal. Subwave is European Union hosted, GDPR native, and embraces privacy by design. Not as a checkbox exercise, but because we build it here for the standards that we live under. Our migration to European-owned cloud infrastructure is top priority for this race. But I also want to be clear about something. We're not building a European platform for European audiences. We're building the best independent publishing platform in the world, with global ambition, but a European foundation. The pressure we see in Europe exists in Canada, Australia, and democracies around the world. Countries that share the same need for sovereign media infrastructure, independent from US platform control. We're building through a European and international lens because this is home. And it's because the values we build with, like transparency, privacy, contributor ownership, democratic governance, those are not constraints, they're actually competitive advantages. We don't need to fight regulation, we are built for it. And when European consumers and institutions look for platforms they can trust with their media, we intend to be the obvious answer. In the next episode, I'll introduce the team.